Okay. All right, so again, yeah, you can use that sheet. The reason for going over, like writing these ones down, you can solve it without writing these equations, but it seems confusing, and there's kind of a couple extra steps that'll go with it. Let me get this eraser out. I jump over there. So I'll look at that very first one, the one that says 1 foot equals 144 inches, or 1 square foot equals 144 square inches. So again, if I have this 1 square foot right here, so this is 1 foot, this is 1 foot, and I'm going to divide it into inches. So 1 foot is going to be 12 inches long. 8, 9, 10, 11. And then this will also be 1 foot long. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Again, not great. But inside this 1 foot by 1 foot square, if you were to count every single one of those individual squares, it would be 144. So that's why when it says 1 square foot equals 144 inches, really what I'm doing is I'm taking that that square that had, instead of 1 foot, I'm going to say 12 inches, and then 12 inches on this one. And that's where that 144 square inches comes from. Okay, same thing on the rest of these ones. When you get to 1 square yard is going to be this many square inches and square feet. 1 square mile will equal that many yards and feet. 1 acre, 1 mile. Kind of the way the whole entire thing goes, we write the number, or they write the number down for you, so that way you don't have to do the individual conversion and then square it yourself. You can do it if you don't have that sheet. But really what you're doing is you're taking whatever that conversion factor is and you're squaring it. You're just doing it twice. So all the English conversions for area, that's there, or customary units. If you're doing that English to metric conversions, that's where those ones are at. Again, if you want to write some of those ones on paper, I am perfectly fine with that. The one I do want to point out, I don't know if you can see it very well on this sheet, is the one that says acre. Acre is the only one that doesn't show the little squared symbol, and that's because it already is a measurement of land. Okay? So everything else is going to have that little squared symbol. If you ever see the word acre, it's not going to have the little squared thing because it's already being used as a measure of kind of square feet, square miles, square yards. Okay. And again, when it comes time for the test on this one, I will let you guys use an entire sheet that has all these formulas on it, in addition to like a note card. So I'm not gonna go too crazy on that stuff of saying you have to memorize every single one of those, because there's no reason to memorize that stuff. Unless you're a realtor. If you're gonna be a realtor, for whatever reason, people like to know how many square miles are in an acre. That's a thing.
There's 43,000.
So in 1 square mile, there's 640 acres. If you get 1 acre, you get 43,000 square feet. A lot of times people will try to say, all right, how many square feet is this house? How big is my yard? No idea why, but when people want to buy property, they like to compare it to acres, and I guess that's a realtor thing. I got a couple friends who are realtors.
Money per square foot?
They want to know acres, though. They're not asking how many square feet. They're trying to figure out, how many acres is it?
Well, it makes sense if you buy like a farm.
Right? I don't know.
I think if you had like 2 acres, like just one big house on like 2 acres.
Winnie the Pooh had 100 acres.
Really?
100 acre woods?
I don't remember him having a house.
Oh, bother.
I just remember him.
Yeah, he lifted a tree.
I just remember him eating honey and eating and stuff.
But he lived in the 100-acre woods.
But it wasn't his.
Well, maybe it's Christopher Robin's. I don't know.
I had the books.
All right. Hopefully, you guys should know these ones. And if not, you can write them down as well. It's going to be that conversion between or capacity. So you've got how many ounces are in a pint. Yeah, like 2 cups in a pint, 2 pints in a quart, 4 quarts in a gallon.
What's the difference between ounces and fluid ounces? I have no idea. Do they still weigh the same, or like?
Yes. It's gonna be. I'll say it's a liquid that'll go with the fluid ounces, which makes sense. But like, you can't try to say that you're gonna get 8 ounces of flour. Or sorry, I'll say 16 ounces of flour, because that would be like a pound of flour is a lot bigger than just 1 pint.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, if you're measuring liquids, that's where the fluid ounces comes from. But the reason they say fluid ounces is when you're doing measurements for like baking. Anyone have goals of being a baker? No. Then you shouldn't really need to worry about the fluid ounces type stuff. But if you're making things, recipe cards, recipe books will call for cups. Some of them will say ounces, some of them will say fluid ounces.
So it's like, how do you measure a fluid ounce? Is there like a measurement spoon that says this is a fluid ounce, or would you just like get a scale out? And
So, and that's the thing. If you're doing dry stuff, you use a scale. If they give you the actual ounces or poundage, you would use an actual scale. But if you're using liquid stuff, you can just use like a measuring cup and then pour the liquid in that way instead of having to get a scale out. That's where this is coming from, so you don't have to use a scale. Okay. Is good with this page? Oh, sorry. This one's also on page 533. Every single one of these is inside the book. Here, let me get that. All right, and then the very last one are going to be cubic factors. That's on page 533.
Cubic.
Yes.
So in a box that's 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot, you can fit 7 gallons.
Yes.
Who made that up? Who figured that out?
For the most part, it'd be like construction workers.
Yes.
So if anybody's looking at doing construction,
We're doing a pool.
doing a pool would be one of those ones. Usually they'll charge you like cubic feet of water. Like that would be how much you get charged when it comes into your house. So that'll be your payment rate. So that'll let you know how much you're actually using in water. Same thing with kind of some of those other ones. I'll explain it in a second in a little more detail. This one, I'm not too concerned with this. The bottom two with seawater and freshwater.
It's different because of the salt.
Because of salt content, yeah. Based on today and tomorrow, more than likely we won't have an assignment tomorrow either. Okay? As I'm looking at time and how long things are taking. It'll probably be like a 3-day lesson at least.
Are we gonna have a quiz next or a test?
It'll be a test because this whole chapter is 3 sections. It's really, really short. All right, so I got the 3 different things we've had. We got capacity using cubic meters or cubic things.
we've got the measurements for volume, and then we've got the other kind of those squared numbers. Before I even get into the conversion stuff, I want to talk about kind of those real world applications. So I'm scrolling back to the top just to get your mind into it. You don't have to write this stuff down. But when you're dealing with kind of square footage, square yards, square miles, can you guys think of any times when those would be used in real world? Or you said like one of them. Yeah, buying a house. Okay, when you're buying a house, you are going to use the square footage. When you guys looked at your houses online, did you guys remember seeing anything where it showed how many square feet the house was? Okay.
6 square feet.
It's the shed, that's where you're gonna live. 5 square feet.
So,
All right, so for when you're buying a house, one thing that they will do using those square footage numbers is you will be able to figure out about how much money you're going to pay per square foot for a house. So let me grab one of the ones you guys had from before. All right, so this house here, so like this is one of the people, you guys gave it to me. It was this $120,000 for 1,664 square feet for this house.
It's my house.
It was your house. It was the very bottom one. Okay, so what you're doing, or what they can do to figure out if you're getting a good deal or kind of comparing you to different houses. Has anyone like ever looked at Zillow for houses? Just kind of creeping on other people's stuff. Sometimes what they'll do is they will figure out about how many square feet the house is, and then they will charge you based on, or estimate based on how much you're gonna have. So that house, the one that you were looking at, was looking at $72 per square foot. So if we're looking at total amount of money, the top of this tabletop here would be, if you're gonna own it, it was gonna be a house, would be right around $300 just for that much property. Okay? So if you're looking at some of
2 years, you could turn around and sell it for 500.
again, depending on what if you're getting something good, like if you're going to look at some houses like down south, like super, like I think you had one down in Texas. The square footage or cost per square foot down in Texas was a lot lower than that. I don't even know the number that it was, but it was like in the $50 to $60 range per square foot. If you're looking at a house like, let's say, in the dunes, like right along the river itself, a lot of those ones are going to go closer to $300 per square foot. Okay, so again, where these square footage numbers are going to come from, people will use it in real estate. Any other thoughts on where you could use square footage, square miles, square, all that acres?
People doing like expeditions and stuff like that. Cave jumpers and knowing how big the cave is.
Okay, so trying to figure out if like you're gonna go out and explore and do that sort of stuff, how much distance you're actually gonna travel. Okay, along with that, what happens if a person gets lost out in the woods? Do they ever tell you like how big their search area is? You guys never heard those ones? Or like a person's lost at sea?
Only in like shows to be like, we're searching this far and wide.
So like usually if there's a person that's found there, so you're gonna say they're gonna look for like in 10 square miles for a person.
When we went to Yellowstone, like when you have to like pay to like get into the actual park, right? So at the place they give you like a map or whatever, and at the bottom there's like a warning says it's like, this is how many square miles we will search for you if you are lost. What?
So again, it kind of gives you an idea of like what those actual numbers are going to mean. If you're gonna be a farmer, this will be something that you care about. Again, those acres, those square miles. If you are going to work kind of construction, if you're gonna paint a house, okay, or you can paint inside, those cans of paint are going to tell you how many square feet of coverage they have. So it's not like you're just gonna draw one straight line nonstop. You gotta figure out kind of what that rectangular area that you're actually going to paint is. Okay, has anybody done any painting before?
In our class.
In art class? Like anything in the house?
Yeah.
Okay, so some of you guys have painted stuff at houses. If it's not like a generic color that you get off the shelf, they're gonna mix it for you. Okay? And I am not picking on anyone that works at Home Depot, Lowe's, or like Sherwin-Williams, but it's not always the same person, right? Okay? So when they mix up those colors, sometimes things are gonna change. Sometimes somebody might put a button in wrong. So if you are going to get that paint, and usually you're gonna try to pay for or buy all the paint at once, so that way it's all gonna match pretty well. If you just go 1 gallon at a time, which has happened or people happen to do, you will definitely see there's going to be some very big differences in colors. If you go down to first floor, from like the learning center area, from that science wing, if you look at the walls, you will see that the paints are all not the same colors. You guys have noticed that, like where they touch it up over the summer? Not going to be the exact same color, not going to be the exact same sheen. Example A right here. Okay, it's not always going to be the exact same thing. So when they try to figure out square footage for painting, that's where that number is going to come in to figure out how much you're actually going to cover. Okay. If you're going to be landscaping, you got to figure out how much grass seed, stuff like that.
Landscaping? Or do you mean
Landscaping, yeah. I was thinking doing lawns with landscaping. From now on, it's gonna be the new word. Lawnscaping. Landscaping. They're gonna kind of cover those same things with grass seed. So depending on what sort of job you'd like to have, that would be another one. Astronauts probably aren't gonna do too much with square footage, but they will definitely do stuff with volume. All right, for this one, these capacities, where would you use this stuff at?
The food room?
Baking.
Foods room, baking. Yeah, any other thoughts?
Cooking just to do.
You got it. Okay, I'm not gonna get too much into that one.
Scientific experiments, except for they use
Usually they're gonna use metric, but yeah, scientific experiments. All right, and then this one. The conversion factors for this stuff, where we're talking about cubic feet, cubic yards, or gallons. Just gallons, not cubic gallons. What would this stuff be used for?
Transporting liquids or storing large amounts of liquids.
Yeah, awesome. Transporting liquid, or storing large amounts. When I'm looking at some of this stuff, I mentioned your house. When stuff comes into your house, they're going to be coming in through like a water meter. You guys ever seen the water meter at your house? It's got a little dial that'll spin on it. Some of the new ones are like digital and whatnot. But really what it's doing, some people are going to have like a 1/2 inch pipe that goes in their house. Some people will have a 3/4 inch pipe that goes in their house. Some places will have like a full inch pipe that comes into their building. I think like buildings like this might even have like 1.5 inches, 2 inches. Like it has a lot of water going in. They're not able to measure that by gallons. It's just the readers don't go well, but they do measure them in cubic feet of water. So that's what that number that's on top of that dial is it's telling you the cubic feet. So you know cubic feet, but usually if you're filling up your, let's say, bathtub or a sink, they don't tell you how many cubic feet a bathtub is. They usually say it's, all right, this is gonna be a 40-gallon bathtub. You guys ever, or like a water heater usually goes by how many gallons. They don't tell you how many cubic feet are in that. They'll tell you how many gallons are in it. So that's kind of where these numbers are gonna come from. Understanding how they can actually tie into the world is beneficial.
How do they charge you like for your water bill? Like you filled up your pool and wired your line, so you're gonna charge you this much.
Yes. They find that whole entire thing out by cubic feet. It'll be a certain amount of dollars per cubic feet of water that you use. They also charge you on how much, I'm going to say, wastewater you have. So like the amount of water you take in, they will also charge you because the expectation is that you're using the drains to get rid of all that water. So even though it's getting watered on your lawn and it's not going down a drain, they'll still charge you for it. Yeah, unless you get well watered.
That's when you don't get well water. I say. I mean, you can use it to like clean stuff, but you don't like drink that.
So other things besides kind of that water bill, cubic yards. If anybody's ever done or has any goals or aspirations of going into construction, or you're going to have some things built for you, like sidewalks, cement. Cement trucks are ran through the cubic yard of cement you get. Okay? If you're trying to figure out how much I need to pour for an entire driveway, you're going to have to figure out kind of the cubic measurement, so how long, how wide, and how deep. That's where you're gonna start getting some of these numbers from. Okay, so the numbers, where they're coming from and what they're used for, the bigger things, for the most part, are going to be used by more like the construction trade, construction or like cooking trade, but either way, they'll still use that stuff up. Oh, the weight of fresh water. I do want to talk this one. Any guesses why this might be important? Just the weight of it.
When you buy a
If
fish
you're in a
tank,
boat,
you know how heavy it is.
Okay, fish tank, how heavy it is.
if you're in a boat moving, that's like more resistant.
Okay, how much you're displacing, all right.
More gas.
I have no idea if you guys have ever seen it. Who here has ever thought of like throwing like a hot tub on a deck on the outside of a building?
Yeah.
You guys are laughing at it because like that's ridiculous. I might have to show some videos of things where people are living like in apartment complexes and they decide to put like their own little swimming pool.
They actually thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, they didn't realize that it's going to be.
It's like those inflatable hot tubs that you can put on
It's
like
like
your
rip
apartment
off
balcony.
Yeah, so again, 1 square foot or cubic foot of fresh water is 62 pounds. Okay, so this big here, this big by this big by this big is 62 pounds, 63 pounds. Okay, so if you're gonna get a fish tank that is, 3 feet wide by 1 foot by 1 foot, you're looking at 180 pounds, and that's just this wide by that tall. So again, most people don't think about water being heavy because they just go through it. I will find pictures of decks, or probably some videos, those are funny too, of kids that decide to try to put that on like a deck at their house, like a hot tub or like an inflatable one, and it just pulls it off the house. Okay. Metric system stuff. These ones are kind of the last measurement piece that I'm going to give to you. It's on page 535. For the most part, these ones are really, I'm going to say, simple to follow. This is what your scientists are going to do. You're going to use milliliters. You're going to use 1 milliliter is 1 cubic centimeter. 1 liter is 1,000 cubic centimeters. Okay.
Are you gonna record these notes and post them on Google Classroom?
They are. Yeah, recorded on Google Classroom. That's already getting put on YouTube as well. So good. All right. Oh, sorry. As long as you have these ones down, we'll do one today and that'll be it. Yeah. Just this very first one. Again, hopefully you guys have that chart from before. But as long as you got the understanding of how we did the stuff yesterday and the day before, this stuff will work the exact same way. So if I start off and I've got 3.05 feet squared, the way I need to set them up, because I want to get to inches or squared inches, I need to make sure the conversion that I'm using is the one that has the feet squared and the inches squared, not just foot, not just inches. So based on that chart that we had, 1 square foot is equal to 144 square inches. My labels will cancel out. Label, label, and I'm left with square inches on the top. And then I just get to take that 3.05 times the 144. So the amount for that answer should have given you 439.2 square inches, or inches squared. That's all the farther I want to go today. Tomorrow we'll do a lot more of the numbers. Realistically, Friday looks more like a homework day. I'll still have the assignment up for Friday, but I'm not gonna rush through and give you guys something at the end of the day because you guys got a team to cheer for at state.
Bro,
Yes, ma'am.
if I email you that paper, can you send it over?
Yep.